Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UENradio.com.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Rebel Hearts with Kristie Reeves. I'm so glad you're joining us today, and we're going to have another amazing show, another amazing hour. And again, before I introduce you to our fabulous and amazing guest for today, let me tell you and remind you what we have going on, because it's only going to go on for another few days. We are doing a swag bag giveaway. We have a whole alliance of sponsors that came together donating products for our swag bag contest. We have Four Sigmatic, Bestow It All, Bottega Organica, Bulletproof, Sara Loos Mentoring, Coffee Reinvented, Golden Ratio Products, and the Hug Store book by Rick Morrison. And how to win one of these amazing swag bags. Go online, go to iTunes, go to the podcast section, search for Rebel Hearts with Kristie Reeves, and leave us your reviews. Let us know what you think of the show, what you'd like to hear more of. And everyone who leaves a review by Friday, which is this Friday, June 30th, will be entered in our swag bag contest. And we're giving away 10 different bags with these amazing eco-conscious, fair trade, and high vibe products. So make sure you get your reviews in by Friday midnight. And let me tell you a little bit about one of our sponsors over here, Four Sigmatic. Four Sigmatic Coffee and Cacao. Four Sigmatic is a superfood company founded by a group of Finnish friends. It is based on their belief that health can be vastly improved through simple dietary tweaks. The easiest way to do this? Mushrooms, the most scientifically studied and proven superfood. Four Sigmatic wants you to popularize medicinal mushrooms by incorporating them in popular products like coffee and hot cacao. Four Sigmatic was founded in 2012. Its products launched in the US in 2015, and I have to say, I love them. I've been drinking their coffee and hot cacao for a while, and I know it's not really hot cacao season, especially if you live in the valley in Los Angeles, where it's been 112 degrees. But I tested it yesterday, and you can drink it as an iced cacao, and it tastes really, really amazing. Just put a couple of cubes of iced coconut in it, and it's absolutely delicious. So Four Sigmatic, check them out, buy their products, enter our swag bag contest, because their hot cacao with medicinal mushrooms is part of our giveaway. And let me tell you a little bit about our amazing guest who's sitting right next to me, and I'm so excited and so honored that she's joining us today. Sara Loos, and as you might have heard, she's also one of our sponsors for our swag bag giveaway. Sara Loos is a compassionate change agent, spiritual mentor, empowerment coach, healer, and author, and is helping clients around the globe to discover simple yet powerful steps that help them transform their ordinary life into an extraordinary experience. We love that. She offers personal one-on-one mentoring as well as many group courses and sacred women's circles that provide the safe and nurturing environment and guidance that ensures her clients get breakthrough results quickly, easily, and often with playful methods. Don't we all love the playfulness? If you're tired of living a life that feels stuck and stagnant, let Sara help you discover how to thrive. Visit her website to learn more about her offerings, www.saraloos.com. And welcome the beautiful and amazing Sara Loos. I'm so excited you're here today. Thank you.
Excited to be here.
And you did a whole big drive yesterday to join us live in the studio. So thank you for taking the time to come down here. And thank you for being part of our swag bag giveaway. Your book, The Miracle Worker's Handbook, is part of our giveaway. And I'm so excited to share some information about how you got to writing that book.
Yeah.
But I actually want to start at the beginning of your story, of your journey.
Okay.
Because when I met you, you were just getting into that whole spiritual awakening, spiritual development. And you had a corporate job before that, before you had your daughter. So tell us a little bit, how was it? How did you feel working that corporate job? And how did you feel before you had that I want to say, that awakening moment?
Yeah. Well, yes, I had an amazing corporate job. I worked in advertising and marketing in New York City and Los Angeles, and did amazing, fun, creative work, worked with amazing people, great people. And over time, making great money and getting write-ups in the trades and things like that, and working on amazing accounts. And although everything seemed to be going totally in my favor, I was absolutely miserable. And no matter what happened in terms of promotions or, salary increases or whatever, I just kept feeling more and more empty. And I remember I felt like I complained all the time. And my husband kept saying to me, Sarah, you've got to figure out, what you want to be when you grow up, because apparently this isn't it, know?
And how amazing is it that you have that support, and how amazing
Yeah.
is it to have that realization? Because I feel so often we measure our success on what is on the outside.
Absolutely.
And having
Absolutely.
that sexy corporate job, making good money, getting good results, getting that
Yeah.
exterior success, but feeling really miserable on the inside. And how good
Yeah.
for you to acknowledge that.
Yeah, and I think, a real turning point for me was just acknowledging that something inside me has always wanted to have a really positive imprint. And I'll never forget, one day my sister, we were talking about what we were spending on an ad campaign, this huge amount of money that I had been given to do a bunch of TV commercials. And my sister, who happens to be a nurse for neonatal intensive care, so babies who were born with a lot of issues, she just said to me, how absolutely crazy is it that people spend that much on marketing, and I've got babies dying and I can't help them because we can't afford the equipment. And it really hit me. I was like, what am I doing? It's like all of my focus was, that was one of the turning points for me, to be thinking of, how am I spending my time and my resources, and really all of my energy. I mean, I had given, I'm going to say my entire identity was my job. That's all I knew of Sarah, right?
Wow.
And it just felt really empty and lonely and sad. And I know, at some point there are people who realize they're here to be of service. And I wasn't serving anyone, really. And I knew that I needed to be of service. So, yeah.
And shouldn't we all be in that space, even if you're doing ad campaign, and if you feel like that's your calling and this is what fulfills you, shouldn't that all come from a place of service, no matter if you're doing ad campaigns or working as a coach or healer or whatever your job is, that you feel like, okay, I feel aligned with this, I'm contributing in whatever way, shape, or form I'm doing that.
Absolutely. The word you used is the perfect word, aligned. One of the things that I noticed in the whole process, and there was this beautiful quote that I heard later that was something about, if you think about the energy it takes to suppress your truth, to suppress being who you're really here to be, your authentic self, it's exhausting. And so I think I was doing so many things. I'd gotten to a place in my life where I was doing so many things that were out of alignment that I was exhausted and tired. I was sick a lot. I mean, there were just all of these signs showing up of like, you're off course, girl,
And was there a specific incident, or was it more a gradual thing that actually got you to a point of going, okay, this is not working for me any longer, I need to create a change?
It was both. It started with, I don't admit this very often in public, but I got fired from my last corporate job. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I remember distinctly being in a puddle on the floor in my kitchen crying. Like, I had my oldest daughter at the time, and she was maybe a year old. And I was crying going, I can't be a stay-at-home mom. I don't know how to do that. All I know is this corporate thing that I do. And, what I thought was my worst thing that could ever possibly happen to me turned into my greatest gift. And I love to say that to people. Like, you have to look for things happen for a reason. And so it was like the thing that landed in my path to make me go in a different trajectory, right?
Yeah.
And then so I had time off to sit and go, what do I really want? What's going to make me happy? And it just so happened, so I met you and multiple other people around that window of time who were giving me all these beautiful clues people were seeing things in me that I wasn't seeing in myself. And I did, it sounds so trite, but I started with Tony Robbins workshops. I did I went to the first Tony Robbins workshop, and I walked on fire, and I was like, wow. And I'm an enthusiast in the Enneagram anyway, so I was just like, oh, I want more. I want more of these amazing adventures and more of this knowledge. And it just became this path that I was so passionate about. And it's like something came alive inside me. And so many people were telling me that this other path, this healing path, was my truth. And I had this extraordinary experience. Oh my goodness. It happened to be at a Tony Robbins event. And I ended up doing all the mastery programs, all of them. And I was at this one event that was very spiritual. And they had like this laying of hands from these people from India. And this woman was doing this program. And I just heard this voice inside me go to the aisle. I was in the middle of, 3,000 people. And it was like, go to the aisle. And I did. I sat on the aisle. And it just so happens because of that she came around and she laid hands on people. And I literally had one of the most exquisite experiences out of body. I had this vision, and it was like, I always say to people, use the word that works for you. I use the word God a lot, and spirit, and they're interchangeable, creator, universe. It doesn't matter to me. It's a label. But I had this exquisite experience where I was told that I'm a healer and that it's time for me to get back on my path. And I remember waking up from that just sobbing because it felt so real. I won't give you all the details. It's a longer story than that, but it's so exquisite. And just going, I have to do this.
Wow.
And it felt so familiar and real that I couldn't go back. So after that, then I was hungry. I tapped on every door. I had to, I took DNA theta healing courses, and I took Reiki, and everything I did, it was like, it was back. I just knew how to do it. It was like I was just remembering. I wasn't learning. I was remembering. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
And was it, again, that one particular incident where you just felt like, okay, now I know? Or again, was it a series of things?
Well,
okay.
That's a really good question. And I think this is really important for everybody out there to hear. Those of us who are called, and I do believe everyone's called in a certain way to do something. We have a purpose. It's wired in us. But what I found myself doing, and I find a lot of my clients do this, you talk yourself out of it. So while I was on this path, and I knew, like I know what I was supposed to be doing, and every time I did any of the healing work, it came so easily to me, and I loved it, and it lit me up like it was a feeling beyond anything else I ever experienced. But then I talked myself out of it, or I'd let other people talk me out of it. I'd let other people say, oh, what do do you really want to do that? People are going to think you're wacky or a witch or, all these labels, And so then I wanted to go into hiding again. So I spent a lot of time in hiding.
And how did you come out of that?
Well,
how did you come
a lot of different ways. One of my all-time favorite quotes that just resonated with me so much was an Anais Nin quote, which says something like, and the time came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk to blossom.
Wow.
And I realized that's what was happening to me. I was in so much pain from holding in who I really am and who I'm here to be, my light. It was so painful. And I was so sad. And I had gone to this place in my life where I get choked up thinking about where I thought, I don't want to be here anymore. If I can't be this, be on purpose. Yeah. So I, caught myself and went, okay, let's make this work. Whatever it takes, let's make this work. And one of those things that I had to do, I did a lot of coursework. I saw a lot of clients while I lived in LA. But for me, one of the key things I had to do is my heart really started telling me that I had to leave LA, that I had to get out because I'm really high. I'm very sensitive to energy and sound, especially because I'm mostly clairaudient. Yeah. So I hear everything and I feel everything. And I was just overwhelmed. So I had to get out of LA. So we moved. That's another crazy story. But I packed my whole family up and we moved to outside of Santa Barbara in the country, just so I have, and I love nature. It's one of the most exquisite places to get connected to, and to be able to be still and quiet and, connect to everything that fuels me. So it's what feeds me again and replenishes me versus depleting me. So,
yeah, I want to circle back to something you said, because I see that in so many people who have a dream or a vision or know this is my path, or even, feel deep down inside there is something that is calling me, even though they might not even be able to put a word to it, but they have this feeling. And then kind of what you did on your own journey, talking yourself out of it, or saying, oh, am I just making this up? Am I really this person that I envision to be? And or other people are talking you out of it, saying, oh, you can't do that, or this is crazy, or you're crazy, or this is impossible. Why do you believe that? We have this deep desire or this deep vision of who we want to be, and then we see on the outside the resistance, or we see the inner resistance.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story that I tell my clients and I love. So I think this is true. I've never really experimented with this, but it sounds true. And somebody shared this story with me a long time ago. And that's about a pot of crabs. And if you have a pot of crabs and one of them wants to crawl out, every single time the other crabs will pull it back down. And if you have one crab in a pot by itself, every single time it'll find a way to escape. And I think that we live in a culture that, unfortunately, at least the majority of the time, is set up to make everybody like us. And don't upset the balance. Don't go and be different. Please don't go being different, because if you're different, it makes everybody uncomfortable, and nobody wants to be uncomfortable. And what I've found is all my greatest joys have come when I got outside my comfort zone. All of them. And that discomfort doesn't have to last for a long amount of time, but it's almost like what I've learned is everything I love is beyond that box that's keeping me restricted and normal and like everybody else. And there's another great saying, which is why are you trying to be normal when you were meant to shine? Or whatever. Why are you trying to be like everybody else when you were meant to shine? And that's what I say to everybody. How amazing would the world be if every single one of us showed up wired with the belief that we have a purpose and we're supposed to be unique, and just waiting. I love as a parent and working with other parents to say, can't wait to see what seed this becomes. It's not my responsibility. Hands off. What flower is going to grow with this child, or with every client? What's the truth of you that's going to be brilliant? And it's just to have that courage. That's what I really try to instill in people, is to have that courage to find your brilliance that's so unique and different, because everybody is. And when you see that, it's like, it's just the best, right?
I love it.
It's the best.
Yeah. And I also talking about how culture has a specific imprint or tries to keep us in a box. I think we're also becoming or being wired to fit in, to please, to conform to society, to other people's expectations. We're not being taught that being different or unique is something good, or even important. We're actually being taught the opposite.
Exactly.
Being different is bad, or being unique is bad. Or I see these kids, even doing the Indigo Kids documentary series, The Children of the Rainbow. I see these kids, and I get calls from parents when I talk to them, who go, my kid is having such a hard time in school because my kid feels different. My kid doesn't feel like these other kids, and it's so painful for that child to feel different. And I feel like it's people out there. It's time to change that, where we see our difference as something positive, where I say, you are you, I am me, and I can see you for who you are, and I allow you to be who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And change that paradigm. Let's send that out to the audience.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's change that paradigm.
And, I always say, when I'm working with teens and kids, I'm like, if you think of all the people who have made such an imprint on the world, they were very different. And do you think that they didn't get called different and challenged? But thank heavens for them. I mean, Albert Einstein was
Yeah.
like a perfect example of,
Yeah.
just he apparently could barely fit into society. He had to have breadcrumbs to find his way back to his door from his yard. Thank heavens for people like that didn't let people stifle them and suffocate them.
Yes.
I mean, I genuinely believe that every single person out there, every single one of you has an amazing gift, and every single one of you is here to do something unique and brilliant in all the world, and you know it. You feel it inside you. We all do. We feel it inside ourselves. And then it's to find the people that will encourage us versus discourage us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important.
Yeah. Now, how did you? Okay, for everybody who's listening, how did you get out of that pond of crabs and be the crab that got to the other side and went her own path?
In all sincerity, I got super courageous, and I just said, if the people around me aren't supporting me, then I'm going to go be by myself. Because the most supportive thing for me, to me, is my connection. This is the word I use. It is my connection to spirit, and I'm very clear that is the most important thing in my entire life, and the most important thing that I can ever do is to get still and be able to hear the voice from inside. I don't need to hear all the other voices, because the voice that I hear from inside me, my soul voice, always gives me the most brilliant advice, always guides me in the most amazing direction. And so when I finally started genuinely listening to that voice, no one else's voices or opinions mattered. And then that was also to say, then listening to the soul voice, it's like, okay, who in your life really sees you for who you are? You, Kristie, are one example. Thank you for you.
Thank you.
And a few other people along the way that saw me and embraced me for who I am versus who I thought I had to be, right? And it's just a matter of setting exquisite boundaries of like, you know what, this person is toxic, not good for me. They make me feel bad. They drain me. They whatever. Exquisite boundary. I don't need them. We're allowed to make choices about who we surround ourselves with. And when we learn that and surround ourselves with the really positive, uplifting, empowering people, everything changes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you start, again, feeling like you're plugged in and things just start going in the right direction. Yeah.
Now, you work with clients.
I do. Yeah.
Let's say you have a client who comes to you saying, okay, I'm totally in for that. I'm totally going to take that responsibility of following my own unique inner voice and, walking my path no matter what. I'm totally committing to this, but I don't know how to find my inner voice. I've never learned how to listen to that, or I can't hear it. How do you teach people how to listen to that voice?
Okay. So, first of all, a couple of things that I really focus on. There are so many coaches and spiritual advisors out there and so forth, and we overlap a lot of our teachings, and for good reason. And I think that it's really important that people come to you because they resonate with you. So if the clients who come to me, hopefully they resonate with me. I think some of the things that they resonate with me on is that I'm going to take subjects that feel really, really challenging, that maybe you went to therapy about for, 10, 12, 20 years, and we're going to pull that stuff out at the roots. I'm going to get back to the inner voice, I promise. The second thing that we're going to do is that we can do that by making it fun, which sounds so like, what?
That's a new concept. We're supposed to have fun healing ourselves.
Yeah, what? No, it's supposed to be painful and dark and scary, and I don't want to do that, but we make it fun. Yeah, no. Because joy is our highest vibration. And when you can get to a place of joy, everything, it's like shape-shifting, but not in a spooky way, but our energy opens up to transformation much faster. So we play some games. So when you play the games, then it's like to me, I laugh and say it's like backdooring your ego or your subconscious mind, because it is holding you trapped. It wants you to be in this programming. It doesn't want change, right? It doesn't want anything to be any different than what I know right now in this path that I'm on. So you have to go backdoor it and get around it. And the way we get around it is by playing some games and doing things that are much more playful. And so the first thing about the inner voice is sometimes it's singing, and sometimes it's dancing, and sometimes it's movement, so that you get energy out of the way, so that you're comfortable with just sitting in stillness. Because by the way, I really genuinely believe the still small voice of God will not compete with the rest of the world. Will not compete. So if you want to hear the voice of your soul, the voice of God from within you, the voice of spirit, whatever you want to call it, you have to carve out time, space, and energy to just be still and quiet, right? And so we play games till you can actually outsmart your mind, because otherwise your mind's going to be like, wait, I've got all these things to do, and I've got,
And I see that
Right?
even with myself sometimes at my grocery lists.
Yeah.
I start meditating, like, this feels so good. And then I'm 2 minutes, and I'm like, oh, I should do this, I should do that. Oh, let me make a note on my smartphone.
Yeah, right.
So I forget about it.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And a lot of the work that I do with clients, this messes with people. I have so many people going, oh, please, Sarah, please do some like Facebook Lives, and we want to see your face. And by the way, this is one of the only times you'll see my face. I do it intentionally. I do audios because I make my clients usually close their eyes. Because when we close our eyes, we lose the context. You're not like going, what is that necklace she's wearing? And I don't know about that lip color. I probably would have done something. You know what I mean? It's like you can't help but go into your mind does that. It goes into critique mode or remembering something like, oh, that reminds me I haven't, washed that shirt and I really want to wear it tomorrow, whatever. So you have to close your eyes to like connect to that stillness.
Yeah.
So anyway, just a step.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Now, you wrote a book
I did.
called The Miracle Worker's Handbook. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Okay. It's a different book. It is simple on purpose, which freaks people out because I think that, most books I think most people write a book to feel very intellectual. And I'm other than that. And I'm not really a writer, but I wrote the book because I was feeling very called to give tools that I had been given by so many master teachers along my journey that made such a big impact on me and helped me find my way, that I was like, oh, it was like I was collecting jewels along the way, and I wanted to pass those on to other people. It didn't feel right. It was like hoarding. I needed to pass those on to other people. So initially I wrote the book to share those tools. And then I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. And then it was really crazy because, Kristie, somewhere along the way, once it was done and put to bed, it's 22 tools. It is like a workbook, and you're supposed to practice and play with the tools so that you change your energy. You learn how to shift how you feel in your body, because it's not about how you're thinking, it's how you're feeling. All of the work is about how we're feeling and changing from within. And once I had the book written and I started to do a promotion, I was like, oh my God. It's that awareness of what's really going on.
I have this
I
now.
planned this,
Oh my
but
gosh.
it was amazing. It was this, when I did my first book signing event, I have learned, like, I show up and I don't prepare stuff anymore because I'm very clear that I'm going to be spoken and I'm not to prepare. If I prepare, I'm usually so uncomfortable and I'm not as confident. And now I just let whatever's going to speak me speak. And I was sitting there about an hour before going, what am I going to talk about? Oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? But I trust. And all of a sudden this thing came through me that was like, this is your coming out party.
Wow. So the
And
hiding was over.
The hiding was over.
Awesome.
The hiding was over. It's like, oh, this is about, and I actually did it down here in LA, the first several book signings, with family members and friends who had no idea what I was doing, had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
Many who were like, what?
So they had no idea about the journey you've been on? Nothing
because I was
at
in
all.
hiding.
Oh, okay.
Because I was in hiding.
Okay.
I wasn't comfortable with people knowing who I really was and what mattered to me. And there's also this piece that's so important. Like, why are we waiting for permission?
Yes. Thank
Right?
you.
That's so crazy. So that's another thing I really, really instill in clients. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the circumstances to be right. Stop waiting for your finances to be right. Stop waiting for the right partner. Stop waiting.
Yeah.
And that's what I was hearing loud and clear. It's like, nobody here is supposed to give me permission to be here and be on purpose.
It has come
except
from
me.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it was
I
just
love that.
awesome awakening. Yeah.
And then again, going into that journey of writing a book, and you said it started as a tool book for your clients,
Yeah.
and it was the first book you've ever written, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
you never wrote any kind of essays,
No.
like
Well,
anything like that.
No, I mean, I remember like being a creative writer, maybe writing poetry when I was in high school, but not a book. And it was hard. It was really hard. It's much harder than people think. And but I decided I had a wonderful woman that I hired, that I found, that was an editor that really heard me for what I was trying to accomplish, and guided me, and did a lot of work on the book to help get it to a place that it was even publishable. And I remember thinking, this is such, like, what am I doing? I'm not a writer. But it's been exquisite. The best thing is that the other piece is to stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Those are someone else's standards. If one person read the book and it helped them, I did my job. And that's happened, and more than one. Obviously, there have been many people who are like, "Oh my gosh!" and it's opened a lot of doors. And it's hopefully it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's something that people will pick up and play with and use, and just play with some of the exercises to see if it doesn't change the way you look at things and experience things.
And it's so beautifully written. I actually reread part of it for today's interview, and it's so, like, even the whole introduction, it's so poetic and so amazing, and I just love it.
You're sweet.
It's,
Thank you.
I'm just honest.
It was from my heart,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
you can
It was
feel
from my
that.
heart.
Yeah.
And I decided I wasn't going to apologize and write it, like maybe someone else would have written it. It needed to be my voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cannot be anybody else's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to shift gears a little bit over here because we had a really interesting conversation before we walked in.
Yes.
And we were talking about, everybody was listening, we were talking about the vision of what we have about the future and the changes that are happening.
Yeah.
And in a way, being woken up,
Absolutely.
becoming our own change agents.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about, let's have a little conversation about this.
Absolutely. So I have been working with a lot of clients, and I mostly work with women now. I used to work with a lot of men, and it's kind of come down to that women and children and teens, especially teens and women, are more of who I serve best. I think they resonate more with me and my tools and my way of being. And I've noticed that I think that there's something beautiful that's happening. I've had so many women after the election who wrote me just devastated over the results and just devastated over, even current events. I still get tons and tons of emails about that. And just, I'm known to put a positive spin on anything because I believe in wholeheartedly that whatever we're served up, there is a beautiful gift in that moment, just like my firing, my corporate job.
Yeah.
And, in hindsight, it being my greatest gift. And it wasn't about me. I found out later it was about the whole company was going in a new direction.
And a friend of mine once said to me, what might seem like our biggest failure might actually turn into our biggest success.
Exactly.
Which is, sometimes exactly what we need.
Exactly true. So when I'm working with a lot of women today, they're looking around going like, I was going in this direction and I believed everything could change. And then it's like the world changed overnight. And it did, but yet I get excited because I genuinely believe what the Dalai Lama said, which is that Western women will change the world.
Yes.
And it's all about us embracing our feminine. We use the word feminine energy a lot. I want to give it a new word, feminine power, because it's not just our energy, but it's the power behind it. That is all about nurturing and the trajectory in a new direction. And I just feel really strongly that for any of those of us who know we're change agents, for those of us who know that we're here to imprint a new way of being, which is really about compassion and nurturing and light and community and empowerment, you know, all these beautiful words that we use a lot, for us to show up, that whole male energy that's and the power that's negative. Now, there's positive male energy, of course, but that whole male energy that's really negative and counter to what our world needs, it has to implode in front of us.
Absolutely.
It has to self-destruct so that all the people who've believed in that can actually go, oh, maybe I need to look in a new direction. So that's what I believe is happening. And it's, to me, it's, you know, I don't wish bad on anyone, but I think it's happening for the right reasons. And it's going to be positive. It is positive. I see it's waking so many women up who they're not going to sit around and wait for somebody to take care of them, or wait for someone to take care of the education system, or to take care of Planned Parenting, or to take care of women's rights, or to take care of so many things that we care about. They used to sit around going, I don't need to deal with that. I'll just do my little thing over here. It's empowering us. It's saying,
empowering us.
wake up.
Yes.
We need you.
And I think you said something so important, and there's actually ancient prophecies, no matter if it's the Kabbalah that talks about the Messianic age, or a lot of the native tribes, that's just the Hopis and Navajos have the prophecy of the rainbow warriors who are here to become the change agents. And other Vedic teachings are talking about it. Yogi Bhajan talked about it many years ago, that we actually are already in a messianic age. And in the past, again, kind of going back to what you just said, we've been kind of sitting around going, okay, you'll do that, you'll save the world, you end the wars, you end poverty. It's like we would always put that responsibility on someone else. And yes, we had people show up that we would call a messiah or a master teacher that have shown up in the past and that have created tremendous change, that had tremendous impact on humanity and the consciousness of humanity. But I believe what we are in right now in that messianic age is a completely different energy where we are becoming our own messiah.
Absolutely.
Instead of going, okay, Sarah, you coach everyone in the world so they can all change. No, I think we're being called to become our own change agents, and not just a few selected. I believe, yes, there are a few selected way showers, but in the end, it's going to be the mass movement. It's the masses that need to be awakened. And I think what's happening in the world is the awakening process that we're going through. And having internet, having the social media network, having independent news that are reporting what's going on in the world, that are reporting incidents that have been suppressed for eons of time, it's illuminating what has been there.
Right.
It's kind of the darkness is becoming illuminated, but we need to illuminate it. We need to see it in order to then change it.
Absolutely. It's the negative coming into the light. It's all these things like, it's like hiding all of the skeletons in the closet of our world, right? It can't anymore. You've got to bring that into the light so that it can be healed. Exactly. Exactly. I want to pick up on something that you said, which is super important. You and I have had conversations about, a lot of people go to spiritual workshops or go to show up for a healing session, and they want the person, the healer, to heal them, to fix it. Just will you just take care of all that for me? And I'm really seeing this birth of, and it's in what you said is so accurate and true, that we have to choose to take responsibility now for ourselves. I'm not here being a spiritual guide or change agent or author or any of those things because of any other reason than I did my work. We each have to do our work and clear out all the things that are keeping us from being the light that we're here to be. That's what the book's about too. It's like each of us is a divine being of light. And until you get rid of all the things, the blocks, the barriers, whatever your stories, limiting beliefs, all that stuff, till you identify them and move them out of the way, you can't show up. And you're constantly looking for other people outside of you to lead you, guide you, fix you, right? And it's time for that to stop. So if you don't know what to do, it's like come work with me.
Yes,
Come work with
yeah.
someone that resonates with you, that's going to hold your hand and guide you and show you how to find that
Yeah.
internal compass
Absolutely.
and that voice, right?
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, and I think you said something so important right now, and you also said it earlier. It's kind of like you're the only person who knows yourself.
Yes.
It's and I feel like, again, so many people are going, okay, Sarah, tell me what my destiny is. What is my mission? What is my life purpose? Can you just fix it? Can you just tell me how to get there? And but no one knows it as well as the person, him or herself. I'm like,
Yeah.
only Sarah knows Sarah best. I'm like,
Yes.
well, we can all see you. We can all maybe guide you or hold you, your hand, support you along
Right.
the way. But in the
Right.
end, it has like Sarah who has to find Sarah and Kristie who has to find Kristie.
Absolutely.
And everybody else who's listening, you have to find yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that is why your work is also so important, or even your book, the tools you have in the book, because they're not about you saying, okay, this is what I need you to do
Yeah.
in order to or this is who you are, but it is giving people tools
Yes.
to kind of eliminate these layers that have been surrounding us, no matter if it's our stories, our experience, or what people have told us in the
Yeah.
past to be. So it's
Yeah.
kind of stripping away these layers
Yeah.
until we find the diamond within.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell us, can you maybe give us one tool for the show, kind of like a little sneak peek of what you're doing or teaching, or even for whoever hasn't read the book, who's hopefully going to read the book, a little tool that our listeners can apply to take a step towards finding that I am presence, the truth of who they are.
Awesome. Wow, there are so many that are coming to mind. One of my favorite ones is just this exercise where you connect to your divine light inside, and it requires you to close your eyes. Do you want me to do it right now?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's all do it
Let's
together.
do it. So you're going to close your eyes and get really comfortable and make sure your feet are on the ground, because you have to stay grounded. And what we're going to do is we're just going to, I want everybody to just a couple of good deep cleansing breaths. Because I just got to get rid of all that, any tension or anything that you're holding. And then imagine that in your heart space that you physically can feel this ball of light that your heart space is. That is this, by the way, your heart is the most powerful energy that you have. It's much more powerful than your brain. And I want you to really feel that ball of light inside you. And then imagine that you have a dimmer switch, like a light, and that you have the capacity to turn up the volume on that light. Imagine that it is illuminating bigger from beyond your chest. It's just it's shining brighter and brighter. And really feel it illuminating outside your chest. Sometimes you have to feel your heart pushing forward, like you're pushing forward this light outside of your body. And then imagine that you are able to increase that tenfold and just pour this light out from your body. And so right now, imagine that wherever you are, you're filling the room you're in with just this beautiful light, and which is unconditional love, because it came from your heart. And I'm imagining right now that I'm surrounding everyone in this room with love, just cocooning them with love. And maybe you want to send that love from your heart out to someone that maybe cut you off in traffic, or someone that's hurt you or harmed you, that you really needs forgiveness, or that you need to forgive is really the way it needs to work. Send that love to them and just cocoon them with it right now. And send it into your home, and imagine your home wherever you are. If you're at work, send it to your home, or send it to your work, your place of work. Just beam that love out from your heart. Just imagine you're filling every room with this unconditional love and light. And then when you're done, imagine that you have the capacity now to just bring it back into yourself, and take your hands and just place it over your heart, and you just bring it right back to yourself, and imagine that it just radiates through every cell in your body. Goes down your legs and up your head, and just it surrounds you. And just take that in. And from that place, from within, that connection to feeling that light, that source is always there with you, that's where the most powerful work can begin. There you go.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel so
Simple.
good. You feel good, Jarvis? That was beautiful.
Yay.
Thank you for guiding us through that. That is amazing.
I don't even think that one's in the book. I don't think so.
Did you just make that up?
No, I use it all the time, but that's what happens. That's what happens. It's like those are 22 tools when I first started doing all my work, and now I'm doing, like 50 other ones. I don't know. I need volumes 2 and 3 to come out.
I think so. It's about time.
I don't.
The next 22 tools.
Yes, exactly. Because there's so many yummy new things to work with. Yeah.
And I think we're also evolving and moving forward. So what we needed 5 years ago, there's more that we can now add to that. Or we weren't probably ready 5 years ago to learn some of the tools you're teaching nowadays.
Absolutely. I find that's one of my favorite things is every day I wake up and I do my meditation and my state of just like connection. And it's incredible what drops in. And so I'm getting new tools like every day. It could be with a specific client that I am given something that's going to help them specifically. Yeah. All the work that I do, by the way, is very customized by person. I get really frustrated when there are programs that are very cookie cutter because who knows where that person is in their journey and what they need now. So we work with where they are in the here and now. And
I love that because everyone's energy is so, again, going back to that uniqueness.
Unique. And special and different for good reason.
Amazing. So I'm just looking at the time, and again, I'm always sitting here like, I want more time to talk to people. What is a final message you have for our audience to take home today?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that I can say is don't wait for anyone to validate you. Don't wait for permission to be who you're here to be. Don't wait for... Just stop pretending that you don't hear or feel that tug in your heart that says, I can be happier and there's something that I'm called here to be. There's so many people... the guests that Kristie has on her show, myself, there's so many of us who are here to support you and help you. To me, it's like coming out. It's like the birth from the egg or the cocoon, It's like so that you're here to soar and fly and be. Life is meant to be joyful. It's meant to be enjoyed and loved. You're meant to thrive. So if there's anything that's getting in the way of you thriving, change. Get on the road. Get on the path. Get the tools. Make it happen now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yay.
Now, how can our listeners find you, Sara?
Yes. So I have a website. It's saraloos.com. And I think he's going to put it up there soon. I had the spelling of my name and so forth. And there's lots of programs and mentoring, private mentoring, group mentoring, and
and you also have a radio show, right?
I have a radio show, yes. I am about once a month. I'm on Transformation Talk Radio. And,
on Tuesday mornings, right?
On Tuesday mornings. And I'll be back on July 3rd talking on Transformation Talk Radio. Exactly. And
amazing.
It's so fun.
Yeah. And do you have anything wonderful, special coming up? Any workshops in the
near
near future?
Yeah. I have 2 really yummy things coming up. I have a workshop for people who feel that they need guidance to tap into their intuitive nature. So a lot of people say, I think I'm intuitive. I don't know. So it's a workshop to help people tap into that, and that's available. It's going to be a 6 weeks course. It's going to be so powerful.
Amazing.
And then I have a Sacred Women's Circle that's starting in this fall as well.
Amazing.
A community, because women need a community of support, right?
Yes, we all
do.
And
encouragement. And so I love holding space to see people shine and just become their best. Yeah.
Amazing. And all that information is on your website.
On my website. Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay.
Yay.
Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. Yay.
It's great to see you.
So everybody check out saraloos.com. And we're going to finish off with a big thank you for joining us today. And I want to say another thank you because we had a last-minute addition to our swag bag contest. So I'm just want to give a big shout-out to Rick Morrison, who's donating his book, The Hug Store. It's absolutely lovely story, and it's going to into the swag bag. So thank you, Rick, for calling me on Saturday saying, I want to be part of this. I want to participate. I'm going to gift you 10 books to go into the swag bags. And again, go on iTunes, Rebel Hearts with Kristie Reeves. Leave us a review before Friday to be eligible to win one of our amazing 10 swag bags. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you feel as inspired and empowered as I am. And have a wonderful week. We will see you next Wednesday with Diana Cooper, author, Hay House author, and angel healer, and amazing being. We're going to talk about the new golden age. So have a wonderful week, and remember to rebel on.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.